You're listening to Om Times Radio. The following is an encore presentation. Welcome to Joy of Business with host Simone Milasas, a dynamic business leader with a difference. Simone has founded and operated many businesses from a young age and has always done business differently. Today, Simone is the worldwide coordinator of Access Consciousness and travels the world presenting Joy of Business programs using access tools and empowering people to know that they can create business in a different way and make money doing it. Simone Milasas, weekly on Om Times Radio.
Good morning, everybody. This is Simone Milasas, and you're with Joy of Business. And I so wish that this wasn't radio in this 10 seconds. I could actually show you where we are, because it's absolutely stunning. It's hot and it's summer here, and it's not wet, but it is if you look at the ocean. And we're at Mooloolaba on the Sunshine Coast, which is about an hour and a half north of Brisbane in Queensland. And I am here with my wonderful, awesome friend, Mr. Christopher Hughes, who has been on this show before, and we have a stunning, stunning view of the ocean at the moment. It's just breathtaking. Beautiful one day, perfect the next, I think is the Queensland slogan. So welcome, Mr. Christopher Hughes.
Well, thank you very much, and a very extra special, elegant holiday greeting to all of our listeners out there.
Thank you. So I know Christmas is coming up very soon. I got an email the other day, and someone was like, 5 weeks till Christmas. And I was like, what? 5 weeks? And I was like, oh no. And it's like, I hadn't done any Christmas shopping. So, this is being played on the 14th. And it's like, so it's really close, which is very fitting because our show today is actually called The Elegance of Holiday Gifting. The Elegance of Holiday Gifting. And it's like, how many of you out there, get stressed? And it's like, oh, who have I got to buy presents for? Am I buying the right present? How much money am I spending? And it's like, do I really have to buy for this person? Or I definitely have to buy for this person. What happens at work? And it's like, is this person, you start classifying, is this person really a friend or is it just someone I hang out occasionally? What am I meant to do here? And it's like, how many of you get so stressed over the business of gifting? What if it wasn't stressful? What if it was something entirely different? What if it was the elegance of holiday gifting? So, Mr. Christopher, this is a very good topic for you, obviously why we invited you on the show today. So tell us a little bit how you see the elegance of holiday gifting.
Well, for those of you who have heard me on the show before, I run an antique shop in Brisbane, Australia called the Antique Guild. And this time of year, we see a veritable parade of husbands coming through the door saying, my wife was in here 3 months ago and she saw this thing and it was white with flowers on it and I think it was gold and it had diamonds. And we just have to say, yes, I know just the one. And make it easy and make it fun and wrap it for them. I think this year even we have a carton of beer set aside so that we can put them in a chair, give them a beer, make the present gifting easy. And that's the approach that for most husbands, that's what they want. That's what makes it fun.
I love that. That's awesome. I think my husband's getting a gift from you. Well, that's what I've sort of picked up on.
Oh,
Mr. Christopher.
I'd never tell. That's client privilege. But yes, as you say, so much of this season is filled with stress and anxiety and the worry about the finances and the bills. But there is that joy possible in gifting, especially this time of year, that is available if you change your point of view a little bit. Like if you look at this as an opportunity to have fun. Like every year I manage to give my mother-in-law something that totally breaks this stony facade that she can have. She can be a bit of a tough nut at times. I hope she's not listening. But if you give her just the right thing and just go beyond her limit of what she thinks is possible or appropriate, she melts and turns into such a teddy bear. And to me, that's what the elegance of gifting can be.
Yeah, actually, let's talk a little bit more about that because I love that topic because one of the things that Gary Douglas, the founder of Access Consciousness, has definitely taught me over the years is what if money was about, changing lives? And it's like, what if it was about blowing people's paradigms? And it's like this time, and it's like we were talking about, people get stressed, etc. And they also, it's like, I mean, yesterday a friend of mine was feeling poor. And then I realized that I was starting to feel poor as well. And it was like, hang on a second, it's Christmas time. Everybody starts to feel poor. And it's like, well, they start to put a budget together when they wouldn't usually put a budget, or how much am I spending on someone? And then last night, I actually met up with some people that I work with, and my PR agent, it was so fabulous. It's like I gave her, which I got from the Guild, I gave her two sterling silver wine goblets, and you should have seen her. She nearly threw them back at me because she just jumped up. She was so excited and was like, ah! She's like, I've always wanted one of these. And I know in her world it was too much to spend on her, yet it changed everything. And it was funny, we were meeting about Joy of Business. She's my PR agent. And it's like, and I could perceive I want to say like the more contribution that occurs between her and Joy of Business just from the gratitude that she has. And it's like, and I see that my niece, as you know, is also going to boarding school next year, and they have to take, I thought it was a bit strange, but they have to take a knife and a fork and a spoon and a plate and a mug. And it's because I was like, what sort of boarding school is this? They can't afford their own cutlery. But it's because after hours, if they want to, have a hot chocolate or something like that, they need their own stuff in their own room. So I got from the Guild again, some sterling silver, knife and fork and spoon and a plate, and got them engraved. And it's like, and I can see, I hadn't even given it to her. And I can see how many people's paradigms, including someone that works in your shop, that is just like, I can't believe you're doing this. She's going to be the odd one out. But what if being the odd one out, what if the elegance was being the odd one out? And what if we could invite people to a greater space of possibility by the gifting and the elegance of it? And everything it doesn't allow you to be that, because it's a being, something you be, where you destroy and uncreate it, right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. And what energy, space and consciousness can you and your body be that would allow you to stop the stress and create the joy of gifting? And everything it doesn't allow that to show up, where you destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds.
Another great thing that people could start looking at if you're interested in playing with this is, for every gift that you're going to give someone, whether it is a coffee or it's a $200,000 car, like, what if you asked, what will this create? Or what will this create in the future if I give this to them? Because it's so not linear, and it's not necessarily what you'd expect. Sometimes giving someone a huge gift can actually totally backfire, and they can't receive it, and it's too much for them, and they hate you for it. Some people can only receive a cup of coffee, but knowing what it might create in the future is and it's not necessarily having a cognitive knowing like, oh, if I give this person, something really expensive, they'll feel indebted to me, and it will create something in the future because they'll feel like they need to do me a favor. It's not like that. It's more just asking the question and getting the awareness of, hey, that feels like it would create something really cool.
So what's some more, because I love doing this show and giving people pragmatic tools to sort of take away. And it's like, what are some of the tools that you think people could look at? Because I can see people sort of going, oh, well, I can't give this one very much because I don't know them very well, or this one because they're closer, they have to, it has to be a bigger present. But that's not actually the way it works. And it's like, so what are some of the questions you would offer to sort of have a look at the situation and see what it is that people can receive?
I guess one of the easiest and most pragmatic and easiest to apply in this situation is I would look at light versus heavy in this instance. Like, one of the things Gary Douglas taught me was, if it's true, it feels light, and if it's heavy, it's a lie. So, if you're going to give someone something and you just get this really it just contracts everything and the whole universe wants to stop, and it's just not light at all. Generally speaking, yeah, maybe that's not the most appropriate thing. Maybe there's a lie there that you're operating from that is creating a decision based on a judgment, based on sort of a different line of reasoning. And if it's light, it's like, yeah, maybe that matches the truth of what they can have and what you'd like to create. Not necessarily, as I say, out of a sense of obligation, but in the future.
So one of the things, too, which we have mentioned on the Joy Business radio shows previously, is talking about projections and expectations. And it's like, this time of year, I just think there's a few projections and expectations around. So all the projections and expectations and separations and rejections and judgments that you have of yourself with gifting and, guess what, the big R word, receiving, truth, where you destroy and uncreate it.
Yes.
Right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all nine shorts, boys and beyond. Now, if you've been listening to the show, you would have heard me use this Access Consciousness Clearing statement. If not, go and check out my website, accessjoybusiness.com, and there's a section on there about the clearing statement. It changes everything. Use it, it works. If it doesn't, use Chris's tool. If it makes you feel lighter, use it. If it makes you feel heavier, don't. It's your choice. You have choice, which is another thing with the elegance of holiday gifting, is you actually have choice not to buy into the projections and expectations that everybody has. So all the projections and expectations and separations, rejections and judgments that others are impelling upon you over this period of time as well, truth, where you destroy and uncreate it.
Yes.
All right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all nine shorts, boys and beyond. I'm going to let you in on a little secret too. You've got to learn to listen to women's subtext. And I'm a woman, so I can say this. The other day I was having a conversation with my husband, and his birthday is the 22nd, so it's just before Christmas, which, you know, his whole life it's been like, you know, this is your Christmas and birthday present. And I have a really good birthday present for him, and I don't have anything for Christmas yet. And he said to me, I don't care about, you know, if you don't have anything Christmas. And I went, yeah, I don't really care either. And he looked at me and he went, you're right. And I was like, it's so true. And I knew I was lying, but it was like, so you've got to learn to listen to that. Our builder at our house, he said that his girlfriend went, all I want is a vacuum cleaner. I was like, Dave, it's not all she wants. You can't just get her a vacuum cleaner. And he goes, no, I know. So you've got to learn to listen to the subtext. So everything that that is and everything that that brought up, where you destroy and uncreate it.
Oh, yeah.
Have fun with it. Right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. And I mean have fun with it, like, you know, I was willing to sort of pick myself up and go, oh, yeah, I think on Christmas Day, Brendan went, oh, honey, I don't have you or anything. I'd be like, oh. But I'm willing to look at that and laugh about it. It's not, you know, it's not a judgeable offense. Nothing is a judgeable offense.
I think we all have stories about receiving that dodo of a gift. Like a good friend of mine, she just put up on Facebook a posting where she has a deep fryer that her boyfriend gave her for their first Christmas together that he thought was a great idea. And she's written a note on it saying, free for anyone to take, never been used, boyfriend thought was good, first Christmas gift, and put it on her front step. And it's like, how many other people have stories about gifts like that they receive? But, I mean, most often it doesn't really matter what you give them. We all try to give the perfect gift, but it's about the generosity behind it or the caring from the person that we really actually appreciate.
Hey, we're going to head off to a break really soon, and that's something I actually want to bring up on the next section about men and women and gifting and receiving. So you'll be joining myself and Christopher Hughes after the break.
What if business could be fun? What if business is the adventure of living? What are you choosing? Where do you do business that makes it easier, more fun, or more joyful for you? We'd love to see where you do business. Connect with us on Instagram at Joy of Business or Twitter at Joy of Business. And share your pictures with hashtags BusinessDoneWhere and Joy of Business. Let's change the world with business. Host your show on IOM FM, the radio network of Om Times Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of Om Times. Hosting a show on IOM FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community.
Hi, I'm Katrina Kavanagh, host of the I Am Wisdom radio show. I Am Wisdom is about the connection between mind work and energy work, spirituality and living a wonderful life. Looking forward to sharing each Sunday 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with you.
The number one reason girls drop out of school in sub-Saharan Africa is lack of access to feminine hygiene products. The Pads for Schoolgirls Project, an outreach of Humanity Healing International, is changing this paradigm by setting up sewing programs at schools, teaching girls a vocational skill while producing the reusable pads that help keep them attending classes. The girls pay it forward by making and giving pad kits to other girls in need. To learn more, visit humanityhealing.org. Humanity Healing is where your heart is. The cutting edge of conscious radio. Om Times Radio. IOM FM.
Hey everybody, welcome back and Merry Christmas. Woohoo! I'm here in Sunshine Coast, very hot, warm Sunshine Coast, with my good friend Mr. Christopher Hughes, who has taught me so much about elegance, actually. Oh. And it's like, I'm going to do a little plug here at the moment before I forget, because sometimes at the end of the show, I'm like, So Chris has actually got some stuff coming up next year. So if you want to start the year off with the elegance of living, and it's like, what have you got happening? I think this is the first thing's on the 4th of January.
Well, actually, it's on the 12th of January. I gave you misinformation earlier. And it's a free taster that you can come onto and find out what the elegance of living is all about. It's on the 12th of January, and you can find the details on my website, theeleganceofliving.com, if you look under free tasters. And then following that on the 14th, there's actually the second series of the Elegance of Living that I do. But in order to take that, you do need to take the first series, which you can also get on the same website, The Elegance of Living. So it's just all about learning how to have more elegance of your life and about living with the finer things of life and adding that element of wealth and prosperity.
So I'm going to add to that because, and this is the business of Elegance of Living, basically, that Chris has created this with. And actually, I'm going to tell the story about years and years ago, many, many moons. Christopher was at one of my Joy Business Tasters, and I was talking about what you would like to create in your life with your business. Now, all of you can do this, okay? And it's like, look at the energy of what it is that you would like to create. And you start with that. You don't have to work it out. I'm not saying get a business plan or, do a projection, or it's like 2016 is going to be the year. I love the way people always do these New Year's resolutions to, this year I will lose 10 pounds. This year I will find the one. This year I will make X amount of money. What if you just demanded that every day? Whatever you'd like to create in your life. And what we kept asking questions, because questions will always empower and questions will always give you more information. An answer will always disempower and take you to a conclusion and a limitation, okay? So everywhere that you're functioning from conclusion and answer rather than question, truth, where you destroy and uncreate it, right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys and girls. I've got a bit of a noisy husband in the background. He thinks he's quiet, like a little mouse. So one of the things that we got to when we kept talking about what Chris, he said that he wanted to have a winery, like own a winery. So we kept asking questions about it. And the energy of what we got down to was he desired people to have this elegance in life. Mm. Like to enjoy, like when you do drink a beautiful fine wine and it's like, and with something, Chris is one of those, my favorite people, when he explains a meal that he just had, you're like, I'd go, oh, there was chicken and rice and some carrots, and he'll go blah, 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 and name this beautiful dish that you're like, oh my God, my taste buds are just melting. And that's the way he is. And that's the way I would say you see the world from the elegance of living. And it's like, so what we got down to was he designed people to have this elegance. So it doesn't necessarily have to be what you come up with. Chris could own a winery in the future, but he doesn't at the moment. But what he does do is he runs this shop, the Antique Guild. Well, it's more than a shop. It's a style of living. And it's called the Antique Guild. You can look it up online. It's actually owned by Gary Douglas, the founder of Access Consciousness. And within that, the space that he has created is amazing. Like, I love going there. There's all these different rooms, and it's like, I've got a couple of my favorite rooms, which I always seem to buy furniture in when I'm sitting in them and having a glass of champagne or something. But even just walking into the shop, now this is what you can create in your business. You walk into the shop and you never, ever feel like you have to buy something. Yet the information and the education that everybody in the store has that is available for you when you walk in is incredible. And that is what makes you desire to buy something. Like the way you'll talk about, some Chinese artifact that's, when it was made, or, you know, I mean, give me a couple of, what's some of your favorite things in the shop right now? Because I can't explain it the way you explain it.
Probably at the moment my two favorites, because it always does change. Well, I'll just talk about one. There's a painting hanging in the store that was painted in the 1730s by a particular painter who, at the time when he did this painting, he was 21. But his other charges were to paint King George I and King George II. Other collectors of this painter are Queen Elizabeth II and the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York. So to have an item like that hanging in our store is such an honor. And just to look at it and know that that's been hanging there for 270 years and it's still as beautiful as it was. And you can even look up the guy who's painting up his house in England. That's still this huge, stately manor. And it takes you back to a time. So to me, that's an example of the elegance. See, I just sold it to you.
Well, you did. I've got to say that Brendan, my husband, was walking around and he sat down next to us and he just like mouthed, "I want it." But I'm not joking, okay? That's the thing. That's the sort of thing that the energy that Chris has. And then when you have it, like, I mean, we've bought many things from the Guild too, and it's like from the business. And when you're in your house, there becomes this elegance, and it's like, I mean, the chairs, and it's like the crystal, and it's like the silver, the china plates, I mean, all of it. And it's like there's this elegance of living that I've got to say, it creates a desire to have more, create more, demand more. And not from this place of greed, from how much can I have, how many things can I have in my life, more from, you know, there's a value of yourself as well. And it's like, if you have a value of you and you have a value of your life and the way you live, then are you going to create more? I mean, my target, I know Brendan's is, and I know yours is too, Chris, is to invite the world to a completely different possibility.
Absolutely. And as you say, for me, that's all about elegance. And one of the things Gary Douglas, the founder of Access, taught me was the actual definition of what elegance is using the least amount of energy to create the maximum effect or the greatest effect. So it's like, if you apply that to your living, it's like, yeah, why wouldn't you come home to a place that nurtures your body and excites you and makes you just so enthusiastic for how you live? You know, you want it to be better than any hotel you've been to, just this place that you can luxuriate in and love, like your house.
I know, I just said that to Brendan. We're staying at this beautiful hotel called Oceans on the beach. And I said to Brendan the other day, you know what, our house is the best place we've ever lived in. Like, either of us. And that's what it should be. And it's like, and not the best as in, you know, top number one. It's like the sense of space, the sense of elegance, the sense of comfort, the sense of peace, the sense of possibilities that it has. And it's like, so everywhere that you have not created that for your life, where you destroy and uncreate it, time to go see and right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyond. And this is not about judging what you haven't created. This is about the inspiration of what would you like your life, your living, your business to be like? And what energy would you have to be to invite that?
Exactly.
And everything it doesn't allow you to perceive, know, be, and receive it, will you destroy and uncreate it?
Yes.
Right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyond.
And what about, like, we're talking about that in terms of your home and how you live. So great. If we're talking about with this show, the elegance of gifting, like you can gift yourself that as well. You know, like so many people, especially this time of year, make themselves last. They put themselves last. Or I can remember my mom every Christmas, she raised, 3 kids of her own. She always would wrap something under the tree so that she had something at Christmas time, because all of us who were like 5, so she'd like find something small and little to gift herself. And I always thought that was great. But it's like, and what if you did that with the gifts you gave to others as well? What if you invited them to that lifestyle or that style of living, as you say, of having a reality that is a gift, that is nurturing, that is elegance?
Well, as I told you before, Justine, my PR agent, when I gave her these 2 silver goblets, she was so excited. It was such a thrill to give a gift like that and watch her reaction. And that day she'd also received some pearls, a pearl necklace. And she was just sitting there all night going, this is an amazing day. I've got pearls and 2 silver goblets in one day. And you could see her start to be grateful for what she was creating with her life and come out of judgment and actually demand more. And it's like, what if that was the elegance of holiday gifting? What if you could be that inspiration and you could create that for others?
Absolutely. And I have seen it all the time, you know, like one of the things I love, as I say, this time of year, we get a lot of husbands coming into our store. And I told the story earlier about the husband who gave the deep fryer and, you know, genuinely thought that was a great gift. But you also get these husbands that come in and are so proud and excited and about giving their lover or their wife or their girlfriend something that will really just thrill them to bits and fill them with joy. And they're chuffed, you know, their chests pop out and they're all excited about it, and facilitating that process or that exchange is so much fun.
When you said that, I could just see like a peacock with the feathers coming out, the chest out and the peacock feathers coming out. And it's true though. I mean, some of the gifts, I've got to tell the story. The first gift that Brendan ever gave me was a barbecue. It's funny, and he thought it was a great gift, and I actually thought it was a great gift too. I was just moving out to this other place, and I did want a barbecue. I had mentioned that, so he was so thrilled that he was getting me what I had mentioned I desired, you know, so that matched. But it's funny, because it's like, you know, the first gift he ever gives you is barbecue. But the second gift he gave me was this amazing, beautiful ring that has these pearls with a little nest in it with another 3 little pearls in it that are like eggs with these emerald leaves, etc., from you guys, that is designed by an Italian designer called Alessio. And it's the most unusual ring, and every time I wear it, it's such a thrill with the difference that it is. And everyone's always like, what is that? Like, it's, you know, and I love wearing it so much that I can see that it changes other people's lives just by wearing this ring. It's strange. And it's like, but that's what happens. So, and one of the things I wanted to actually ask you about too, Christopher, because I love the stories about, we're almost off to a break. So we're almost off to a break. So I'm going to save that question, but I'm going to tell you, we use the word job yourself in Australia, but I gave my mother a milkshake maker one year, and then the next year I gave her a soda stream maker so she could make us soft drinks. And I remember thinking, why is she not happy with this? Because doesn't everybody want a milkshake maker? We'll be back really soon after the break. Thanks for joining myself and Christopher Hughes on The Joy of Business. And you can check Chris out at theeleganceofliving.com.
That's it.
Have you ever wondered how to change your love paradigm? The secret key is finding a love partnership, not just a regular connection. How do you find these? Through conscious relationships. Ascending Hearts Dating is a dating site for people like you that believes in second chances and a different type of spiritual connection. Try Ascending Hearts for free today at ascendinghearts.com and change your love paradigm. Ascending Hearts, the premier dating community for the spiritually awake.
The Laying On of Hands Healing Radio Show is about treating the whole person, mind, body, and spirit. Join me, Charles Smith, as I share life-balancing measures such as nutrition and spiritual practices to help you take charge of your own health and wellness every Thursday at 7 p.m. on Om Times Radio.
Host your show on IOM FM, the radio network of Om Times Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of Om Times. Hosting a show on IOM FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community.
Would your business and life like to be bigger? Would you like to have more fun with everything you do? Simone Milasas travels the world facilitating Joy of Business seminars. These classes are for you if you would like to create more money and joy, expand your business, and work smarter, not harder. Join her live or watch the online seminar from the comfort of your own home. Go to www.accessjoyofbusiness.com to register and for more information.
Connecting you with the best of the conscious minds in the world. Om Times Radio. IOM FM.
Hi everybody, welcome back. And you're here with Simone Melisis and Christopher Hughes. And the advert we just had on there was done by Mr. Christopher Hughes.
Oh, my own dulcet tones. Look at that.
Exactly. So we were in the break, we were talking about the gifting and having a little chuckle. So I was going to ask Chris about some of the first gifts that he's received.
Well, I think the first Christmas that I had with my husband, he was stumped and trying to find me a gift. And I go a little bit overboard when it comes to this kind of thing, especially with him. And he found this box, this little wooden box that he gave me that he thought I would just love because I collect silver and silver bullion. And he said, oh, you could put all your silver in there. And it was like, and the funny thing is it was a box that was actually for holding watches. And he collects watches, but I hate watches. So I was like, oh, okay. Thanks, honey. I mean, he's never taken it over to use it for watches, but I've always just been like, oh, yeah.
How does it get any better than that?
Yeah.
So the elegance of holiday gifting, and you know what? We should actually even add the word of the elegance of holiday gifting and receiving.
Yeah.
And so, because how many of you out there find it actually hard to receive? And it's like, there's a lot of give and take. And one of the things that we talk about in Access Consciousness is there's a program called the Give and Take program, which is basically that place where when you give something to someone and you have this energy that you realize that they're not really receiving it. And it's like, well, guess what? They haven't. They took it. And it's like, what if you didn't function from give and take? What if you function from gifting and receiving? It's a totally different energy. I mean, even look at it in your sex life. Are you functioning from give and take, or are you functioning from gifting and receiving? Now, in gifting and receiving, when you give a gift, there's so much receiving in actually gifting. And it's like, and the willingness to actually receive what somebody gives you. I remember at one stage years ago, I had a bunch of jewelry that someone had given me, a friend, and I looked down at this jewelry and I realized that it wasn't mine. It was still his. And I was like, I've never actually received this. And I knew that if I was willing to receive this, because he wasn't, holding back saying you can't receive it. He was just like, hey, it's yours. This is a gift. But I realized that if I wasn't willing to receive these gifts, then I wasn't willing to receive what else could show up in my life. It was everything. Possibilities, and it's like, relationships, and it's like with your body, with your business, everything. So everywhere that you have blocked out receiving and you've chosen not to receive and function from the give and take program, where you destroy and uncreate it, time to go zillion, right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyond.
This year, every November in Australia, we have this event called the Melbourne Cup. And I have this, every year, I'm not a gambler, but every year I bid on the Melbourne Cup a little bit. And this year I bid, but I didn't even actually put any money down. I got a free bid given to me.
I like the way you say bid. It's actually bet.
Oh, bet.
You've been bidding on auctions.
Oh, yeah. Well, the auctions is the other thing I do. Yes, you're right. But I bet this $200 that the website had given me as an incentive to try and keep me gambling. And I won. And I won pretty big. Like I won.
Tell them how much you won.
I won over $20,000.
Yay!
I know. And it's funny because earlier in the show, Simone told the story of going to a Joy of Business class with her in Perth, Australia. And I think at the time I had like $75 in my pocket to get me through 4 days or something. It was, it was a different time financially. And to receive that kind of money, over $20,000, I had no point of view about it. I was, happy, enthusiastic, excited about it, but I was actually willing to just receive it and go, cool. I didn't go to, what am I going to spend it on? Where am I going to put it? It just went, woohoo, how does it get any better than this? And that element of receiving invites so much more in your life. I can't even begin to tell you the things that have changed from being willing to receive.
No. So everywhere that you're not willing to receive, please don't go to the judgment. This is not about judging. None of these tools or processes are about you judging you. It's about the willingness to change something of where you're currently functioning from and change it to create a greater possibility. And it's like, what if today was the day that, you popped open a bottle of champagne and you congratulated yourself and celebrated your life and your living? What if you were the gift? And it's like, and POC and POD, everywhere that you've been in judgment for yourself this year, destroy and uncreate it, right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all names, shorts, boys and beyond. POC and POD, everywhere that you've uninvited gifting and receiving, that you've uninvited business possibilities, you've uninvited money, you've uninvited fun into your life, destroy and uncreate it, right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all names, shorts, boys and beyond. This is not New Year's Eve. This is the 14th of December. And celebrate you. What if you were the gift? What if you were the elegance of the gifting? And everything it doesn't allow that to show up where you destroy and uncreate it.
Yeah.
All right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all names, shorts, boys and beyond. So I wanted to ask you a little bit more about, because you've taught me so much, Chris, with, I mean, you know, everything that you do in your business. And it's like, by what you've taught me, so I'm plugging it here, but I highly recommend going and checking out, you know, Chris's call on the 12th, which will be the 11th in the US. So just go to his website and check it out and find your time zone. TheEleganceOfLiving.com. It's not you, is it?
No.
TheEleganceOfLiving.com. Because if you're willing to have more in your life, it's amazing how much more you will create. And I know if you're listening to this going, oh yeah, that sounds crazy, or that's fine just for them, etc. But it's not. And it's like the more that I've been willing to actually receive in my life. Like, I mean, do you want to explain our Chinaware?
Absolutely. Your China or your silver pattern?
No, the China.
The China. So Simone and Brendan have been adding to their lives quite dynamically over the period that I've known them. Like, to say that I've grown and changed is, yeah, absolutely true. And they have changed so much and have so much more in their life and so much bigger a life than most people can even fathom. And that's not about right and wrong or some people are better than others. It's just, wow, the willingness to add. And recently, from our shop, they bought a set of china that is pure bone china with a rim of platinum around the outside, made by the company that produces the china for the White House and for American ambassadors, and it's called Lenox. And it matches the energy of them. There's an elegance to it and a simplicity, but a fineness, and it's such a joy to add that to your life when you're dining.
Yeah, I needed him to explain that because I would have gone, with platinum rim. But he explains things so well. But what I wanted him to explain it, and then what I want to say is what it creates for me is this platform of what I'd like to create. I mean, the fact that the Chinaware, the company designs the same Chinaware for the White House and the American ambassadors, etc. It doesn't put me as separate. It puts me as I can demand more of that in my life as well. So it's like, and it's funny because it's like you can't put it in the dishwasher, and usually we put everything in the dishwasher, but we don't. We wash them every night or every day. And it's like, and it also becomes this, you know, the gratitude of the gifting and receiving as well of what the plates that we're eating off. And it's like, and the silverware. I wanted you to talk about silverware because I love the whole concept of, you know, the royal families used to, having blue blood and the whole silver, you know, using silver, etc. So over to you, Chris, because I'll just butcher what I'm talking about.
Well, silver is very near and dear to my heart because that's what I started collecting. And similar to you and you, Simone, I use my set every day. When I last counted it, I had enough pieces that I could have people over for a 3-course dinner and serve 38 people with my silver. My dining table seats 6. But I could do them in stages. Do you know what I mean? But for those of you who don't know, sterling silver just means that it's basically pure silver, or close enough to it in layman's terms. And all of the companies that used to produce that are now gone. And as the price of silver rises, people who don't see the value of it are melting it left, right, and center. So do you see, from a business point of view, how the past will become a future commodity? It's actually quite astounding to me. And for those of you out there who are going, yeah, right, but I can't afford to go and buy a whole canteen of silver flatware. What if you started with a spoon? What if you went to a swap meet or a little antique shop or something and started building a little collection as investments in you, as the elegance of gifting to you? You started doing that for yourself because, as they say, to me, the elegance of living is I mean, yeah, you could get up in the morning and just have your cup of coffee as you got ready to work and you ironed your shirt. But what if you rose in the morning and drank your coffee from a fine china cup with a little silver spoon, and it was about adding all of these elements of elegance to your life that made it a richer, more nurturing, joyful experience?
I love that idea too. So it's like, because it's not, like you said, you don't have to go out and spend, thousands of dollars on a whole set, or so that you can feed 38 people a 3-course meal, Christopher.
I've added to it over time. It's not like I started with
But I love it. It's like, buy a spoon so you can eat ice cream.
Yeah.
Eat ice cream from silver, or buy one goblet. Or buy one silver goblet, and it's like, and you're drinking out of a silver goblet. And it's like, so tell us about the whole concept of like the blue blood.
Well, initially, we all know these things like born with a silver spoon in your mouth, or having sort of blue collar versus blue blood, that sort of thing. First of all, being born with a silver spoon in your mouth was actually a testament to your health and not necessarily your wealth. And indeed, as well, having blue blood, that occurred from eating off of silver plates, goblets, and cutlery. And people started actually to get a bit of a blue tone as they built up the silver in their body. Well, guess what? Nowadays, people are taking colloidal silver as a very expensive health supplement, but it's creating the same effect that people used to have just from eating with those things. Silver automatically, or has this natural property of being an antimicrobial agent, so storing water in it, eliminates all the toxins in the water and makes it more pure and nourishing for your body. It has these incredible properties that will gift to you if you're willing to use it. But people associate it with the upper classes. But it actually has more to do with nourishing and nurturing your body than anything else.
So really everyone should go out and get themselves a silver jug to put their water in.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I love that. And it's so much fun to eat off it as well. I remember at one stage my assistant said, I borrowed a fork from you. I had, she had a salad or something. And she goes, but borrowing a fork from you takes on a completely different meaning. And I love our silverware set too. It's called Joan of Arc. And it's it was an American company that is, like I said, now shut down. And so I'm actually looking for more as well. So just quickly before we go off to the next break, and it's like you're talking about people melting them now as well, like at melt value. Where can people go find it? It's like, or you said a swap meet or a little antique shop.
Yeah, swap meet, antique shops, the internet, eBay. Find a pattern that you love. There's thousands of them out there.
Yeah, and I love our Joan of Arc set. It's beautiful. Or you can also check out theantiqueguild.com.au, and Christopher has plenty of silver there that you can buy and purchase online. So you will be back really soon with Christopher Hughes and Simone Milasses on Joy of Business. Thank you for joining us. I hope you're enjoying The Elegance of Holiday Gift Work.
Gary Douglas and Dr. Dane here are facilitating a class for the Earth with the Earth. The Earth class is a special 3-day class designed to give you the tools to create change wherever you go on this beautiful planet of ours. Join Gary and Dane in Houston, Texas, or online January 24th to the 26th. Go to www.accessconsciousness.com/earthclass for more information. All proceeds will go to El Lugar, a non-profit foundation dedicated to creating greater ecological possibility.
Conscious media for conscious minds. Om Times. As difficult as it is to believe, there are places in Africa where human traffickers sell albino children and their body parts for use in magic rituals. Humanity Healing International is actively working in Uganda to change this paradigm. The Albino Rescue Project finds albino children who are at risk and places them in safe schools and environments where they can learn and grow free from fear. To learn more or to sponsor a child, visit humanityhealing.org. Humanity Healing is where your heart is. Are you trying to get from point A to point B and need a little advice? Connect with the counselors at Om Times Advisors. Whether you're looking for a life coach or a spiritual intuitive, the advisors participating at advisors.omtimes.com were carefully chosen based on their gifts, skills, and professionalism. Om Times Advisors, connecting you with the best advisors in the business.
The Conscious Parenting Radio Show provides inspiration and resources for loving, empowering, and respecting your children and yourself. Join me, Timothy, every Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time as we consciously explore proven ways of living together in happiness, health, and harmony.
Your conscious connection to a more mindful world. Om Times Radio. IOM FM.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to Joy of Business. And you're with Christopher Hughes and Simone Milasas on the Joy of Business radio show on Om Times. Now, if you have any requests out there for anything that you would like us to be talking about, etc., email omtimes@accessjoyofbusiness.com. So omtimes@accessjoyofbusiness.com. And if you go to our website, accessjoyofbusiness.com, you can sign up for a free video series called Putting the Fun Back in Business. And it's like, why wouldn't you want to put the fun back in business? So if you're not having fun in business, what's the worst thing that can happen if you go and sign up for Putting the Fun Back in Business? It might just change something, even if it's just for a day. Because you know what? My point of view is always, if you're not doing something you love, why are you doing it? And it's like, this is it. This is your life. And it's like, so this is not a dry run. This is not a test run. And it's like, this is your life. So if you're not enjoying what you're doing, what choices could you make today that you could actually change it? And it's like, and if you've been listening to this show, it's like you're either like, yeah, you're excited and enthused, or maybe you're getting a little annoyed because you're like, yes, they can have all this stuff, but I can't. I was $187,000 in debt 14 years ago. As Christopher says, you know, that class that he was talking about that he went to with me, he had $75 in his pocket to last 4 days. And it's like, so, you know, we haven't always had money. But what we have had is the desire to create. Now, it wasn't the desire to create money. Money shows up when you desire to create. That's how it works. And it's like, if you're actually doing what you love, money follows joy. Joy doesn't follow money. So it's not about once I get X amount of money, then I'll be happy. It's like, no, happiness is just a choice. You can choose happiness right now. This very moment, you can start to choose happiness. Like I said, open up that bottle of champagne and start to celebrate you. And it's like, what if you were the elegance of the holiday gifting and receiving? What if it was about you? Have you ever made you, like, put yourself in the computation? What if today was the day that you started to put you in the computation of your life and living? And it wasn't just about others. Because guess what? If you're in your own computation, it actually starts to include others. It's not about excluding, but it's like, you know what it's like when you're hanging out with someone and it's like when they're being them, and it's like there's this huge invitation for you to be you, rather than someone who's functioning from needy, you know, or greed, or functioning from, you know, this necessity to have, you know, you and clients, etc. It's just like this ease and this willingness for you to be you. I just thought about something too. We've got on the 30th of January, there's a class that myself and Brendan, my partner, are doing called Being You, Changing the World. It's actually based on Dr. Dane Heer's book, Being You, Changing the World, which if you don't have it, grab it on Amazon. Mm-hmm. It's a great Christmas gift to give to your family, friends, Being You, Changing the World. You can also get the Joy of Business book on Amazon too. But it's based on that. It's a one-day class because we're looking at creating facilitators around the world for these classes, Being You, Changing the World. Because if everyone was willing to be them, not be somebody else, not be like somebody else, not copy someone else, not duplicate someone else, and it's like every single person has a different awareness and a different ability and different. Everyone shows up different. Even twins don't look the same.
Exactly.
So it's like, and they don't be the same. So it's like you being you can change the world. You being you can create more happiness and more sense of peace and more sense of possibilities in the world. So everywhere that you've been refusing to be you because you think that you are a judgeable offense, truth, where you're destroying and uncreated.
Yep.
Right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyond.
One of the things you said there, Simone, about, gifting to you, opening up that bottle of champagne, and you're talking about the debt that you used to have, and the situation that I used to be in was, it was touch and go there a few times. But what's really changed that for me, and I'm pretty sure it was one of the tools that helped you as well, was the 10%, which I know you've probably talked about on
Right, go for it.
But
people hear it, and they go, yeah, and then they hear it, and they go, yeah. And probably about the third time, they start to actually do it. So what was it like for you?
Well, I resisted it dynamically. And for those who don't know, the 10% is about taking 10% of every dollar that comes into your life and putting it aside as an honoring and a tithing to you. You never spend it. You never use it for a rainy day. You never put it on bills or anything like that, no matter the catastrophe. You save it for you. And since I chose to actually go, you know what, I'm going to do this, my financial situation is so different. And the amount of money that comes into my life, because I've shown the universe that that's what I'm willing to have, is unbelievable. So I gave the example of winning the Melbourne Cup earlier. Not literally, I wasn't, like on a horse or running on the field, but winning the bet that I played. Just stuff like that just happens. I mean, or it doesn't even happen. You create it. You add it to your life. You create your life as a place where those sort of magic little things occur because of your willingness to gift to you.
And receive.
Exactly.
Yeah. And you know what? It's so funny. Everyone that I know that has their 10% account has very similar stories like this. And you get it when you get it. And it's like, I mean, Brendan, my partner, it's like when he first started his 10%, and I think you sort of did something similar too. He started 10% and spend it. Started 10% and spend it. And eventually he said to me, honey, will you hold it for me and not give it to me if I ask for it? And I was like, sure. So I held his 10% in cash and I hid it. And then at one stage he was like, oh, I need that money. I need it. And I was like, no. And he's like, what do you mean no? And I'm like, well, you told me not to give it to you even if you asked for it. And he was like, seriously? And I was like, yeah, I'm not giving it to you, And it took to about, I think he got about $5,000. And then I gave it to him. Because then there was this energy where he went, oh, wow, I've got $5,000 in my 10% account. And you could feel like the peacock, the chest coming out and the feathers going up. And he was willing to have gratitude for himself and what he had created, because nobody else had created that 10%. He had created the 10%. And from them, he put it in a bank account and he keeps adding to it. And it's like, to watch how much more he has created based on having the 10% has been quite incredible. So it's like, whatever you do, don't start at 10% today.
Since I've started it and have been diligent with it in the last few years, my husband and I were filling out a loan application, and they asked us to list our assets in our house. And we didn't list the things that, to me personally don't have a great deal of sort of intrinsic value, like fridges and TVs. We just did the stuff like the silver bullion and the unset gemstones and the antique furniture and the silver flatware for 36 people. And we added it all up and we were like, oh, there's over $100,000 worth of stuff here that we've really only been collecting in the last couple of years. And a lot of it was bought with our 10% money, because that's the one place that I'm willing to spend 10% is on things that I know won't lose value, things that will grow in value and appreciate. And it adds to my overall sense of wealth. And if I really needed to, I could sell them and still not lose my money. And since doing that exercise as well, I've gone, oh, wow, I guess I'm not poor anymore.
Yeah, I love that too. We've got a safe at home, and if you ever start to have that sense of poor, you open up the safe and go, oh, look, there's I like buying big blocks of silver because they're all sit on top of each other. And it gives you a sense of peace of mind, because it's in this reality, how many people start to stress out about money, especially around this time? And it's what if it wasn't stressful? What if it was something that could contribute to your life, your living, and your business? So everywhere that you have excluded money and receiving money from your life, living, and business, truth where you destroy and uncreate it.
Yeah.
All right, long, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyond. And in saying that too, currency flows. Like the fact that I gave, my PR agent the 2 silver goblets. It's that's a currency flow. And it's I know that she's going to go back to Sydney and she's going to be sitting there with her boyfriend, James, and it's and she'll be drinking out of them, and it will create this sense of joy in her world and in her reality and in her body. And it's what if that was the elegance of holiday gifting, is creating that sense of joy in others?
Mm.
And
in you.
Yeah, and in you. And it's what would that look like for you? What would it look like for this Christmas if that is the space that you are willing to function from? And everything it doesn't allow that to show up, we just try and uncreate it.
Yes.
Right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyond.
The thing with that too is I can sort of feel people out there going, oh wow, you've got $100,000 worth of stuff, and you got bricks of silver in your safe. But I started with a spoon that was $40. Like, who doesn't have $40 out there to do that for themselves? It's not about, and like I say, when I turned around and looked at how much there was, it was astounding at how much had accumulated from those small choices, if you want to call them that all sort of accumulated and added to the world that I've created today.
And just on talking about that, if you do feel like that's not possible, there is a great book called How to Become Money Workbook that is on the accessconsciousness.com site. It's brilliant. It's like $35, and it's like, you know, if you don't think you can buy a $40 spoon, buy a $35 book. And it asks you all of these questions. And I'm going to do in the new year, actually, an on-time show based on that book because it's incredible. And asks you all these questions about what money, you know, feels like and means to you, etc. And Brendan and I actually did a telecall recently on it, and you can get that on our website, accessjoybusiness.com. And it's changed so many people's lives. So, Christopher, we are almost at the end of our show, and we've got about another minute. Is there anything more that you would like to add or leave our listeners with over this festive, joyful time?
I guess the most important thing, or what I would like everyone to take away, is the sense of fun. It's like, what if gifting to yourself and to others was fun for you, a joy, even if it was, you know, pushing people's buttons a little bit with what you could give them.
And it's funny because last night we were talking about your present. And I went, I know what I want to get Chris and Drew, and told Brendan, who was like, oh, that's a great idea. And it's like, but there's this joy and fun in finding that thing that you go, oh, yeah, they're going to love that. And I know they don't have one. So it's like that.
Now I'm dying of curiosity.
Well, you'll just have to wait, Mr. Christopher. So I want to thank all of you for joining us on this call. And I hope that this gave you a sense of possibility, not the other way around, because like Christopher said, it's like, you know, he started off with a spoon. I was $187,000 in debt, and it's like, you know what, you have to ask your business to contribute to you, and what can you contribute to your business, and start by gifting you and start by honoring you and see what starts to show up. It doesn't have to be fast, and it can start with a spoon. So go out and buy a spoon today. A sterling silver spoon. And thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, Mr. Christopher.
Thank you. It was an honor.
Bye, everyone.